Hi everyone, this is Sabrina. So today's behind the scenes video is going to be sharing the start of my week in the life 2020. So I hope this interests you, and I am very excited to share how I am bringing together this album. If you remember from other behind the scenes videos, I said I'm doing a journal. I have the week in the life journal and I mapped it all out in Photoshop, and you can see I put it on a large gray canvas, 48 inches by 24 inches, and that makes it really easy to see everything that I need to see. And I pulled up the canvas, and I had previously laid out all the photos, but I really didn't like it. So I made another canvas and I took the ing words and I made a box for each of the ing words. I feel like the ing words are just going to stump me for a lot of days, but I am going to make it work, and I know that I can change some of the days to whatever I want. Like I can copy and paste loving to another one, or watching to another box. Like I can erase it and do that in Photoshop. That's pretty easy. And once I have my new canvas started, I can go ahead and get started on pulling in photos. You can see here that I went back into my folder and I'm selecting the first photos that I want to work with, and then I will just go piece by piece. And that's really how it felt like with this process. It was like a puzzle piece to kind of felt like a puzzle to put together all the photos, and how the whole day how to put the whole thing together. So I've dragged in all of my photos into Photoshop. And I realized it's a lot of photos, so I had to go back over to where the canvas was and then zoom in and kind of see how I wanted to start building my day. So I have like this screenshot from when my son was learning about the Stamp Act. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that for reading. And I may move it because I wound up with a lot of screenshots or things that I think work in a technology kind of category. So I'm going to eventually take a lot of those screenshots and just move them off to the side of the canvas, and then I can deal with them later on and maybe bring them all together at the end of the album. So for now, the Stamp Act is going to go in the reading box, and I think that looks really cool, like just a little slice right there. I also wanted to mention that I may decide to get out my cinch machine and take apart the journal and put it on rings. Yeah, not rings, the disc. And then that way, if it gets really fat and junky, that is totally okay. So over here on this page, what I want to remember, I thought about having horizontal photos, but then in the end, I decided to go with a 3x2 photo, and I'm going to do 4 of them. And I'm also going to repeat this on the page that says feelings for today and gratitudes for today. And that page is before the ing words. You'll see that in a second. So what I want to remember, I definitely want to remember my son's room and how it looked at that time. So that's why that was the first photo there. I also have a screenshot of Week in the Life. I think Allie Edwards or someone posted it on the Allie Edwards Instagram. So I'm going to take that and actually put it in the playing box. Again, it's a screenshot, but I really loved how it fit perfectly for the playing. I had to shrink it down really small. That way I could fit all the words in it. But that worked out because I was able to change the color of the box from like orange to match the color of the Week in the Life. I am working on that page that I said matches the remember page. So I have gratitudes on the left. It's divided by gratitudes and then feelings for today. So my thought is to do 2 gratitudes and 2 feelings. When I had started out this project, I immediately knew that I had two 4x6 horizontal photos, one of my kids making lunch and the other one of them doing their schoolwork at the table. So those are going to stay 4x6, and I thought I could do some 2x2s up above and below. And you just saw me save my document, which is really important. I save it like every so often. I don't know if I show it to you guys every single time I save it, but I do save it. So I am going to go into this photo and hit Command L, and that way I can pull up the layers and kind of lighten up the photo because it was a little bit dark. I am still getting used to my Mac system, and my Mac system doesn't seem to organize my photos by, like, if the photo is an original and then an edited copy, it doesn't put them side by side. So it's hard to tell, if it's an edited photo or not. So the photo of my son working at the computer, at the table, I put feelings about today because there's a lot of strong feelings about doing computer learning. So that's definitely going to be feelings. Definitely. A lot to say about that. And you know what else I found out, you guys? I'm super, super thrilled about. I'm actually going to do a screen recording or figure out a way that I can get my Instagram stories from 2020 into this album somehow, like with a QR code or something, because I did a ton, an absolute ton of Instagram stories during Week in the Life. So that was a really awesome treasure to find. So I'm excited to include those. So I pulled in a hilarious screenshot of my husband at work because he would call and check in, and he had that capability at that time. So I had a screenshot, also pulled in a screenshot of a song that we found, and then I have a large screenshot that says, yes, it matters that you made it through another day. And I scooted over things so that way if I do decide to do a disc album, I can go ahead and put that in the middle as almost like an insert, because it was really important back then to kind of cheer yourself on and say, I'm making it through a day. I am now clipping a photo to the square box, and it was a line of my daughter's toys at the time because she was learning to measure things. So that's what we had to use to measure things, including my son's ID card and a stapler and a Barbie. So very awesome picture to have. And I also have my daughter lounging and starting off her day. So I'm going over to what I want to remember, and I'm going to bring in a photo of my daughter working on the computer, and there's just going to probably be a lot of those photos, which I'm fine with because it really does capture 2020 and how upside down everything was. So I am going to go ahead and duplicate these square photos so that way I have 6 for each of the sections that have 4x6 photos. And earlier I said I was going to do the square photos up and down, and I don't know if I do on this, but I like the idea of the 4x6 horizontal with 2x2s and then rotating where the 4x6 is going to be, whether on top or not. And when I am duplicating photos, I like to move the background layers so that way it is easier to duplicate things. And you'll see me do that again later on, or maybe in a little bit, and I'll mention it again. We also had to compare a straw to my car. Like, how would you measure a car? Would you measure it with a straw or not? I remember clearly that problem. I just can't remember the exact wording. I added in another photo of my daughter working, and I might take that photo off. I haven't decided yet. There's just a lot of them. Another insert is going to be my son and I sitting on the couch taking some hilarious selfies. Now on this page that I'm working on, I wanted to do 2 3x4s and then make this page more of like a scrapbook-ish type of spread. Either way, I wanted it to be a scrappy section where I could put in like a big stampy title. I could put in some embellishments. I could just make it more fancy and scrapbook-ish. So I have a really awesome photo of my son working, and I'm going to put that for a 3x4 what I want to remember. I have one of me brushing my daughter's hair, which has been the epic battle forever, but it's really cool that I was brushing her hair and my daughter actually took the photo. And I am looking through the photos again to see which ones I missed or which ones I want to grab. I think I'm grabbing another round of photos to kind of deal with. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't want to grab all the photos at the same time because it makes it too much. Like you can see up there, it's a long line of photos, so it's easier if I just do a little chunk at a time. And it's not like Photoshop Elements, where Elements had a photo bin down at the bottom. Okay, this photo, I'm super proud of myself for including it, and I have no idea how I got it. I probably asked my son or bribed my son to get the photo of me. Right in May, or right before this week in the life started, I actually started moving. Like I knew so many things were out of control, and the one thing I could control was moving my body. And when my kids were having their outside recess time, I would literally have recess time for myself, and I started working out on the porch. Like, you guys go have your recess and run around, and I'm gonna do my porch exercise. And so kudos to me for doing that, because now 5 years later I am still moving. So I did gratitudes, was this weather photo. I don't know if I'm gonna move that. I think I moved the weather photo with the clouds from one of the ING boxes, but I didn't like how it looked in an ING box. So I went to gratitudes, because honestly, recess time and having lots of outside time breaks absolutely saved us. Like, it saved all of us. So I'm so glad that I stuck to having lots of outside time, and I'm glad my kids went along with it because it was essential. Okay, now you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to the 4x6 horizontal and the 2x2 squares. I think they're a little bit smaller than 2x2, but you can see that one 4x6 is on top and one is on the bottom, which is the one of my kids working at the table. My son made a pretzel person. It's something he used to love to do, so I included that. I also included a fantastic photo of our shoes, which I love because it's definitely a time capsule, seeing what our shoes looked like. I also wanted to include this photo of me working at the computer, and I just needed to lighten it again, so I did the Command L. And I don't remember where I put that photo. I think I put it as an ING. No, I put it as a 2x2. I also have on the right-hand side a little snapshot of a project that I worked on, so I'm really happy that I included that, because like Ali Edwards says, when you make the Week in the Life project, all your people in your life are like the secondary characters and you're the main character. So I just try to keep that in mind. But in this season of life, it was very much like my kids let me take their photos. They let me, get all in their face. And also it was the upside down time. So a lot of these pictures are pretty much priceless as far as capturing what it was like being in the upside down world. All right, I'm going in for another round of photos. This might be the last set of photos. Yeah, I'm towards definitely the end of the night, because I can see my husband showing me a song and then journaling while I watch the show with my husband. So last round of photos, and I have this photo of us outside, and I thought that could be for one of the ING boxes, I think, because I wanted to change it to weather or something like that. I know that I'm going to type up weather on one of the pages. I just needed to drag it over to where I wanted it. I think like I said a long time ago, I can definitely take the ING words and change them or, duplicate any of them. That's a really easy fix. So one of the ING words is struggling. And I remember clearly just having like pretty much a meltdown about dinner, and I actually took a photo of me crying in the kitchen while I was making dinner. Like I usually when I make dinner and it's Week in the Life, I will get a chair and my tripod and I will just either do a time lapse or I'll do photos. But I took a timer photo of me just crying and upset. And I think looking back at my Instagram stories, I think I was only upset because I was like missing an ingredient. But I'm sure you guys can relate that during that time, little things could just derail everything. So it was long days back then, right? I also dragged in another photo of us watching a TV show, and so I put that up by watching. And then that weather photo, I just dragged that up to the top because I wasn't quite sure where I was going to put it or where I was going to use it. I also have a photo of the kids and I watching TV, and I set that aside as well. That's why I love having this large gray canvas, because I can just set things aside as if I'm working at like a physical desk, which is really nice. I also wanted to include that photo I took of my husband and I as what I want to remember. We were outside watching our daughter try out the scooter. So that was really, a little fun thing to try. And again, it was evening recess. We had recess in the evening right before bedtime. So recess all the time. I needed one more page, so I just duplicated the dot grid page so that way I could add in the next page. I think the reason I needed this other page is because I wanted 2 4x6s and another page that I could potentially do some stamping or just make it a little fancier. But I had a photo of my daughter and I reading in her bed, and I thought about putting it in the ING section, but it just did not work. I also had a photo of all of us on the couch, which is absolutely priceless as well. I love taking that type of photo during week in the life. So I definitely had to include that as a 4x6. There was just no way I couldn't include it as a 4x6. So I've got all the pieces mostly put together. You can see here I was going to my previous canvas to see if I had already cropped the bedtime reading photo, and I had, so I dragged and dropped it. And I think I'm pretty much done with this canvas, and I have Monday started. So now all I have to do is really make sure I get all my photos onto 4x6 photo mats and get them ready for printing. And so you guys just need to tell me what you want as far as the next step. Do you want to see me put together Tuesday? Do you want to see this when it's printed? I just love your input on what you want to see next. For the feelings about today, I have a photo of my daughter as well, and I am just wrapping up where I'm going to put the final photos. I have one, like I said, of my husband showing me music, and then gratitudes for today, I put the photo of me journaling. I will say that one of my last steps, now that I have all of the photos clipped together, is to go back to the layers and either relabel them. Like these ING boxes, I would put ING box loving, ING box reading. That way the layers don't just, because they are really funky. Like if you leave it as is, it's just really funky and it bothers me and it makes it so it's not easy to work. So I like to rename them, and I also take a lot of the photos and I merge the layers together. So I use Command to highlight the layers and then Command E to merge them all together. That way it also makes the file smaller, because having all those clipping masks together, that's a lot. So it just makes more sense to rename everything and also merge a bunch of layers. I also wanted to duplicate some of my shapes that I would clip the photos into. I wanted to duplicate those so that way I could add those to Tuesday and the rest of the days of the week. And you can see here I wrote in weather because I thought I could use this weather photo, but I might have a different photo somewhere. I'm not sure, but I wanted to write a note to myself to remember. But that's my helpful tip, is to just rename and merge your layers and make sure that the layers are kind of following the order of your canvas. So like starting with that 6x8 photo, followed by the 3x2, and then the ING, if that makes sense. Because when the layers are in the order that you're kind of working, it just makes it so much easier and smoother to find what you're looking for. And now I can, move on to putting together Tuesday through Sunday. And I'm very excited, and I'm not too terribly worried about journaling. Like I said, I have the Instagram stories, and that's plenty. And then I probably have some other stuff that I can use as well. But there you go, you guys. It's amazing, and I'm so proud of myself. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed seeing this come together. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm very excited. I cannot tell you how excited I am to have started on a big project that I wanted to accomplish on my project sheet. I'm dragging some of the screenshot things down to the bottom and kind of cleaning up the canvas, and then I'll save it. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'd love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you are new to my channel. Have a wonderful day. Bye.